We're here, people. Stream's going to be starting in the next 55 seconds. Big up to each and every one of you that is here locked in into the chat right now. Big up to Shay in the building. Long time no see, my brother. It has been, 10 days nearly. Big up to yourself, Shay. Hope you're keeping good and well. Man, like William, into the cut as well. Hoping you good. Hoping that you are good, my brother Will. And I'm glad to see you in here because, when you got fellow Gooners in here. But we don't even have a fellow Gooner, but we got big up my brother Joe in the building. Says, hey people, have you followed the house rules? Wipe your feet, take your shoes off, and drop a like as you walk in. My brother. Now, big up each and every time, Joe. That is what we need to do. When you step in here, make sure you hit that like button. Indeed, big up to yourself as well. And there we go. We should be about 10 seconds in. Big up to yourself as well. Josh in the building. Long time no see, my bro. But we're going to get into it. We'll be talking about Newcastle in just a moment. Wagwan, everyone. I hope you're doing well and welcome back to Tereak Talks. Guys, I am back. Premier League football is back. Tell me which one you're looking forward to seeing the most, because it should be your boy. It should be. It's been a while. It's been how long now? Probably 9-10 days since I last did a stream on the channel. But it's been a while. And those of you who do know, I didn't really post it out everywhere, but I was away on holiday. I was in Spain in sunny Mallorca. Second time I went this year, and I thought it would have been good to have that break. I went with my brother-in-law, Rick, in the building. Not Ed. I went with my older brother-in-law, in Rick, and it was a great time. What a good break we had. We met some fantastic people from all over the world. I mean, I'm on one of the nights I met a Spanish guy, and big up to himself. And he won't be watching. I didn't tell him about the channel and that. But I did meet some great people from up and down Britain, from Scotland, through even as close to home in Everton, and people around in the Worcestershire and Herefordshire area, and people down south in London, in Essex. It was a great time, and I feel refreshed, and I'm sure you can probably tell. I've got to come here with a new energy because I am looking forward to streaming, and I'm looking forward to talking to you guys about football with the Premier League preview show back here for game week 9. I have been working on it today. Since I come back from my holiday, I was feeling a bit, tired and stuff because of the flight times. I feel like I picked up a little flu, little cold, but I've not had it as bad as my brother-in-law. And now I've passed it on to my sister too. But I'm feeling a lot more refreshed. I've been having a paracetamol. Where are they? They're over there. They're not reachable. I can't show you them, but I've been on them. And I'm just gassed. It's Friday, and you know what? What is it? What was that? I had a canned bottle of water, not whilst I was on holiday, before I went on holiday. I forgot what it was called. But anyway, now I'm drinking agua, as they say in España. So I hope you're keeping good, people. I'm glad to be back, and I hope you are here as well. Friday night Premier League football. If you don't know what this is already, it's the Premier League preview show where we look ahead to each and every game this weekend. Of course, you've seen on the thumbnail the headline, the London Derby between Chelsea and Arsenal. I am an Arsenal fan. I am I wouldn't call myself a top gooner, but I'm a massive Arsenal fan. If you don't know, get to know. But we do look at each team, and I try and take my Arsenal hat off. I'm not wearing an Arsenal shirt, wearing England, because I think it's safe to do so when I'm talking about all the other teams as well. And a Toronto Raptors cap. Big up to yourself, Moss. Thank you for that. So we will be getting into it, guys, and talking about each team, each fixture within this weekend, and talking about how you think this is going to go. I would like to know your thoughts and feelings in the chat whilst we do so, but after, I will need you to put your comments in and your predictions in the comment section in particular, because we do have a predictions league, which I'll provide you an update on at the end of the show. And what I will also tell you about the new theme that we added in game week 7 with the predictor of the month, where there will be a mini prize given to those who got the highest number of points from the predictions league. And here's the rules right here. If you want to see them on screen, I will read them out in a bit. But I have started that, and I will also give you an update on what that's looking like so far. And we still got this game week and the next weeks to do for the month. And then once those have been done, the following game week, so by game week 11, so when we do the game week 11 preview, there will be a winner announced and the prize will be given on that show as well. So big up to everyone for the predictor of the month. So even if you haven't joined and you've missed all the 9, there is still prizes to be given away, just to say thank you for the support to the channel. But here are the rules for the predictions league for the big table, which I will show you at the end as well. So all predictions must be entered before the first fixture of the game week. So make sure your predictions are entered into the comments at the end of this stream. You can leave them whilst we're on this live, and I will bring them up and read them out, and we'll discuss them, and whatever your thoughts and opinions are on the fixture that you want to discuss, or anything, or if you want to talk about all of them like I will, then you can. But if you got anything in particular that you want to raise or talk about or ask a question, the option is there for you as well. But to enter the Predictions League, it has to be in the comments section, and you will get 3 points for a correct score and 1 point for a correct result. So a correct score: Arsenal played Chelsea. If Chelsea win by 1-0 and you predict that, you get 3 points. But if Chelsea win by 2-0 and you predict a 1-0 Chelsea win, then you will get the 1 point because it's the correct result. But if you predict a Chelsea win and they draw, an Arsenal draw, or Arsenal win, then you get no points. Hopefully it's as simple to follow. If you got any questions, let me know during the stream or at the end if you're watching afterwards, as we're going to get into it right now. But before I do so, I want you to smash that like button, please, guys. It really does help and support the channel. It's great to see some of you in here, some regular faces and some OG returning faces. You're all my people, and you're all a massive part of the community in here as well. So love to see you near as per usual. I'm just going to go through some of the comments before I do. Lateness won't look good for the XG. Hey, the late is not looking good for the stats. You know what I mean? We saw what happened with Aubameyang, William, when he turned up late too many times. I might get kicked out of my own channel. He was the captain of the club and he got kicked out. So yeah, hey, no one's too big enough for the channel. You know what I mean? Even myself. Well, go on, T. Now, big up my bro Josh, and he says for us, too gnarly is up but dodgy on dodgy terms. But Palace will see a battering, I hope. Josh, my brother, big up to yourself. It's been a long time. I'm sure those of you who are OGs in here will remember him. But I hope you've been keeping well, and I hope that work has been good for you, because this is how much of a tight community we are. Like, we used to have the Discord popping, and Josh was having aspirations for his work. If you don't mind me sharing as well, bro, like he's aspiring chef and he's excellent. Some of the dishes that he's made, oh my word, mouth watering and out of this world. So my bro, I hope you're all keeping good as well. And it's great to see you in here. And big up to everyone in here as well. I loved it. Much deserved vacation. But tomorrow it's time to cook Chelsea. We will get into that. That will be the first game. Bro's waffling about water. Hey, I've missed you when I start waffling about these things. Remember, Pax, the watchalongs, the amount of waffle we used to talk about there. Even waffles themselves. Good evening to yourself, Mr. 200. Moss in the building in here too. Love to you all. And people, we're going to get started. And he had a great hey, Moss, I'll get into it. Hold that thought, my bro. Hold that thought. We will be talking about that as well. So let's get into the first game. It is Chelsea taking on Arsenal, which is the 5:30 kickoff here in the UK. So guys, make sure that you are ready. If you are in the UK, I'm not quite sure what time it will be there, but it is a Saturday kickoff. Usually we have these ones on a Sunday, the big Super Sunday that we used to have. I think it still might be Super Sunday, but yeah, we do have a big fixture here where Chelsea, off the back of a good run of form, beating Fulham, beating Burnley in their last game, scoring some goals in that too, and Arsenal off of the back of our win against Manchester City, which I'm still gassed about, and you got to be, because it's the first time we beat him in how long, and it's our potential title contenders and our title rivals that we've finally been able to beat and grab the win against. But this one is a huge game, and there has been a lot going into it, a lot of subplots with Jorginho and Havertz. Chelsea fans discussing whether they should do him or not, because he scored the goal in the Champions League final that won it for them against City a couple of years back. But hey, he's moved to Arsenal, bro. Anyone who makes that move remember, we had Aubameyang. He scored winning goal in the FA Cup final, and he carried us through difficult periods. As soon as you go Chelsea, you're getting booed. So I fully expect him to get booed as well. Yeah, you can appreciate what he's done, but this is the game. The game's the game, people. But Arsenal take on Chelsea, and the injury news for Chelsea. There's been some big injuries, but there's some good positive news, with Reece James. We're unsure whether he's back yet after he sustained his knee injury. Well, was it a knee injury? It was more hamstring injury, but he did pick up a little knee injury apparently. Not very clear whether he's going to be fit and available for that. But what we do know is Malo Gusto will return after his 3-match suspension after the red card he picked up against Aston Villa. So they will have a right back at least, as Mark Cucurella has been the one deputising in that position of late. And done a good job in those 3 games, to be honest. But it's not his natural position. And against a team as good as Arsenal, when we've got the likes of Martinelli back fit on that side, taking on that fullback, you saw what he did in that first 45 minutes against Man City, and the last 45 minutes against Man City, didn't you? And the trouble he caused them, and having a big impact for the goal. If he's fit and firing and sharp, it's going to be a problem for them. But overall, with Chelsea, when you look at them, they have improved, I do think, and Mikel Arteta said it himself today that they have been quite unfortunate not to pick up more points. They create a lot of chances. The statistics prove that. Their problem has been what it has been for the last many years since they got rid of Diego Costa, which is putting that ball into the back of the net. But maybe there's been an upturn in form. Maybe the likes of Palmer, Nicholas Jackson, Raheem Sterling have been able to find their shooting boots. And if they're able to pick up on that and have some consistency in front of goal, there will be a problem for the league, and they will make this game difficult for Arsenal if they can maintain that threat, if they can contain us as well. But it's a lot easier said than done. Given our Arsenal, yes, there's been a lot made out that they haven't been at their fluid firing best that we saw at this stage at the beginning of last season. But I just simply got to say, it's injuries is the big problem with that. And yes, we had some injuries in the beginning of the season to our defense, and that kind of made us have a rejig of so many different positions. Zinchenko wasn't quite fit enough to start at the beginning because he was struggling with his calf injury from the back of last season. So we ended up moving Partey to right back to try and invert on that side, having Timber out there. And then when Timber got injured, we went to Tomiyasu. Then Tomiyasu got suspended. We went to Kivior, and then Zinchenko returned, and then so did Gabriel Magalhaes as well. But the big problem that we've had is our attack. We haven't looked as fluid, and injuries again is the big reason for that. I love this stat, and I loved it listening to Harry's channel when Clive was on there. You guys, you know how much I love Clive. Yeah, serious Arsenal football man as well. Goes into depth, coaching, like tactical. Like, loved it. Love listening to that. But we only played 23 minutes with Saka, Jesus, and Martinelli, who played every single minute at this stage last season. Do you know what I mean? So, and that's why we was looking fit and firing, and that's why our attack hasn't been at its best. We've been having to rotate Eddie, Trossard, who's not even been able to have a consistent run. And when we did perform at our best in our attack, he was there fit and available whilst Martinelli was out. Because Saka's been struggling with injuries. We've literally had injuries across the whole of those 3. And it'd be good to see if we are going to get them fit and available. Who knows if Saka's going to be fit? I think he will be. I think he will play. It's just Arteta being coy. But I thought that he might play against, I thought that he was going to play against Manchester City. And they kept that under wraps. And even until the day, they took him out with the squad, taking him for the walks. And it was all on purpose to try and throw people off, as Arsenal were disappointed in the fact that it came out that he had, and that he was going to be in contention or that he was going to play, etc. And they didn't like those rumours. But this is going to be an interesting one now, because both teams have got a little bit of question marks on who's going to play, who's going to start, who's available, who's fit enough, who's going to be even on the bench. But both teams are in different positions. Arsenal competing for a league, and Chelsea want to get to where Arsenal's level is, but they're going to be certainly hoping to at least get into the Champions League. But they are at home in a London derby. You expect them to make it a difficult game. A lot of Chelsea's games have been tight this season. And yes, they've struggled to score goals, but defensively they look sound. Same with Arsenal, really. We've struggled to look at our fluid best, but defensively, apart from individual errors, we have been good as well. So that's the big build-up in terms of this game and how I think it's going to go. People, I have gone with an Arsenal 2-1 win. I could see this being a draw. I always feel a bit more tentative when we do come back from an international break. I think the main reason for that is because not quite sure who's going to return at what fitness level, what stages that they're at. The players that were held back, like a Saliba and Saka, are they going to be fit enough to play yet? What kind of condition are they in? There's so many question marks about that. So I do feel a little bit tentative to predict confidently an Arsenal win, but I still think that Arsenal, if they're at their best, and if both teams are at their best, Arsenal win this game simply because of the level that we are now at with the players that we've got. I'm hoping to see Martin Odegaard come back. He had a disappointing international break with Norway, but I'm hoping to see him come back and relishing to be back in this Arsenal team where we've got so many key weapons there fit and available. Wanting to see the Declan Rice, Thomas Partey is now returning. Hopefully Saliba's recovered from that toe injury. And if Arsenal are out there performing at their best, they should win this game. But Arsenal do need to be close to their best, I do believe, to get this win. Definitely strong defensively. Arsenal, mate, I've been so impressed with us out of possession. When we don't have the ball, we're defensively solid. We've conceded 6 goals this season. I was trying to tell people this at the beginning, even when we were giving sloppy goals away, weren't quite hearing it, but we are defensively much stronger. You saw that against Man City as well, and you've seen it since Raya's even coming in. Even moments where he's looked shaky, we do look a lot more steady out of possession. We look more dangerous, and where teams can actually cause us trouble when we make our own mistakes. So that means when we're in possession. Those are my concerns. But with the players back fit, I'm hoping they will be able to make an impact here against Chelsea and win this by 2-1. Let's see what you guys and girls are saying in the chat right here. Let me see this. So we got Paxton's gone with a 1-0 Arsenal win. It will be closer than people think. I think a lot of Arsenal fans have gone with a close win for this one and think the game's going to be close because I think Chelsea, Mikel Pochettino is a good manager, and I think he'll eventually get them to a decent level. Whether it's to the best and being one of the best in the league, that's yet to be seen, and really winning and competing for trophies, because we haven't seen Pochettino do that in the Premier League yet. But yeah, I do think he will set them up well. Good manager tactically, and will and try and cause Arsenal problems. But I think Arsenal will just have enough players and enough weapons to cause them problems. Shetty's gone for a 3-1 Arsenal win. Josh is just talking about here. Since I was here last year, moved job sadly, but living in Sheffield now. Working in an outdoor activity centre, loving living and meeting new people. Man, it's been that long. Big up to my bro Josh, man, and I'm glad that you are keeping good and well. And send love out to him as well, people. I can see some of you have in the chat already. Big up, man, and I'm glad that you're loving it as well. That's the main important thing. Whatever you're doing, you love it. That goes for all of you out there. Whatever you're doing in life, make sure that you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, I know it's a lot easier said than done, but you gotta make a change somehow, some way. And yeah, it just takes time as well, people. But big up Josh in the building. Let me see what we're saying now. Moss has said Zinchenko, Gabriel, Saliba, Hope, all good, and lock it down with Benny Blanco. Yeah, so they were all in training, all 4 of those defenders, and that does look like it will be the back line we will start with. I'm not sure. Well, I didn't see Saliba in there, but I'm presuming he's back fit as well. But yeah, Benny Blanco with a new hairdo. He's got a fresh tan new hairdo. That's a serious Benny Blanco. He loves the international break because he gets to relax and not focus on football as well. William in the building says, well, yes, Chelsea found a bit of form. The pressure is on them as opposed to us, in my opinion. 100%. Palmer, Gallagher, Caicedo, not up for it. Hopefully, Saliba will be fit. Yeah, big pressure on them for me. And that's a good point. Who's this game bigger for, Will? For me, it's Chelsea, because they need to really set a statement out. Arsenal, yeah, every game's big for Arsenal, because when you're trying to compete with the league, there is very little margin for error. But for Chelsea to see what level they're at and spent £1 billion under Todd Boehly, they're going to be wanting to compete for the best. Do you know what I mean? And want to be involved in these sort of competitions and competing against us. And this is the level that they want to be at. So it's a huge game for them. Sorry, I was getting distracted by one of them stupid flies in here. I need to sort that out. But yeah, hopefully Saliba will be fit. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. They've got a lot of runners in that midfield, a lot of legs, Enzo, Caicedo, and Gallagher. But do they have the technical quality? Do they have the goal scoring ability that we have from our midfield now? Do you know what I mean? And we have physical players, legs, we've got technical ability, and we've got goals and creativity. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that if they've got all of those things, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm sure Saturday, tomorrow evening, will prove that to us. Marlo Gusto always leaves a bad taste in my mouth, if you know, you know. I think you're on about the food, edit. That's what I think you're on about. But that's the 11 for Marcy's gone with Raya White, Saliba, Gabriel, Alexander Zinchenko, Jorginho, Rice, Odegaard, Saka, Martinelli, Jesus. So he's gone with Jorginho to start in this one. Head of Partey's, because you don't think Partey's going to be fit enough to start, or is it because he's up against his old teammates? But he's gone with a 2-1 Arsenal win. Bring on Kai, Tommy Partey early in the second half for victory. Maybe some ESR magic too. Big up, man. Big up. But sorry, bro. Sorry, T, bro, saying it's going to be a 3-1 Arsenal. Oh, phew. You got me scared then. I thought he was going to go for a 3-1 Chelsea win. But nah, we won't be here long. Oh, big up to yourself, Mr. 200. You know what you need to do anyway. Drop them into the comment section. But I appreciate you coming in here, you know, dropping some comments and hitting the like button with here as well. No, I'm still not working there. I left. I left. That's why I've got a bit more time to do this here. So yeah. But yeah, I'll DM you, my bro. Yeah, definitely DM you. I will DM you after this. Actually, I'll send you a DM. But yes, you will be doing the Goal Rush 3 p.m. kickoff. So if those of you want, you know, you're watching those 3 p.m.s, whether it's here in the UK or elsewhere, Moss will be there on Across the Pond Sports Talk, hitting that up with you, and you can go watch it with him on there as well, and let him know your thoughts and discuss those games with him. Mr. Casey has gone for a 2-1 Gunners win, but Jackson to score. Big up to yourself, Casey. And that's the score I've went before, a 2-1 Arsenal win. Now let's move on into the next game, which is another derby, and it's the Merseyside Derby, as Liverpool take on Everton at, not Goodison Park, at Anfield, which did used to be Everton Stadium, if you didn't know once upon a time. Get to know your football history, but nah. I've given you now. But the big news surrounding Liverpool today is that Andrew Robertson is going to be out for a long period of time, could be from 10 to 12 weeks with a shoulder surgery. He's picked up a shoulder injury. Hold on, sort this. What is with this chair, man? Sorry. He has picked up a shoulder injury, and he's going to be out for a long time, which isn't good for Liverpool at all. But they do have Kostas Tsimikas in that position if they are desperate. And yeah, they don't really have anyone beyond that. But it will be interesting to see what Jurgen Klopp does go with for this one here. No Curtis Jones available for this game. Thiago still not going to be fit. But good news is that they could have a Cody Gakpo for an early return, as well as Diogo Jota, who's come back from his one game ban from the 2 yellow cards against Tottenham Hotspur, pardon me. But yeah, so maybe with Liverpool, another 12:30 kickoff. We saw against Wolverhampton Wanderers, they started off slow. McAllister in that midfield was taken off at halftime. They have 4 players coming from South America in Alisson, Diaz, McAllister, and Darwin Nunez, who all played big parts for their teams in their Copa America qualification there. So it's going to be interesting to see what condition they're going to return in, even though they're not listed on the injury front. But with Everton, who have less internationals than Liverpool as well, so it will be interesting to see how they return here. With the only injuries on their list is Dele Alli, Seamus Coleman, and Andre Gomez. So they've got a fully fit squad and would have had quite a few players in and around ready for this game. Liverpool versus Everton, though, for me, what's the score going to be? I'm thinking towards a Liverpool win with this here, and I have predicted a Liverpool win. I've gone for a 3-1 Liverpool win. I just see this game as really a step too far. Everton, although I've gone with them for a loss for this, I am quite confident that Everton are going to have a good, strong season, and they're going to be quite good in this season. The chances created, I mean, that statistic's been flying around. They've created a lot of chances, more than even the likes of Arsenal, but putting it into the back of the net has been their problem. And even just from watching the games, that's been the issue. I remember against Wolves, they had plenty of chances. Against Fulham, they should have easily won that game, but Fulham, as they do, beating the XG, always proving XG that isn't always the be all and end all in football. But yeah, man. So Everton's problem is that, but they have started to pick up a little bit of more form now, and I think that it will be I hope that they can build on this with Sean Dyche and build some confidence. But this step is going to be a little bit too far with Liverpool's attack. Their potent attack's going to cause Everton issues, but they do leave a bit of vulnerability going that way, going backwards. And I think Everton might be able to score a goal on the day. But Liverpool gonna do this, I believe. And I can see Paxson in the chat saying Everton need to truly replace DCL. Don't you think that Beto is that replacement for DCL? I know it's been early days. He's had flashes of brilliance, but he's not quite been at the level that they hope that, around what DCL has been at his best when Everton were performing well under Carlo Ancelotti. And what we've seen again from flashes with DCL, when he's been in between those injuries, when he has played, and you know how important he is and the level he can get to. Being an England striker, it'll be very unlikely he gets to the Euros, but it's, things never say never. If he can prove his fitness and have a strong season now, we know he's got the ability, and he could be a big plus in a world where strikers there's a dearth of quality striker, and we know that big physical striker that can run the channels, who can win aerial duels, protect the ball, players that lone front man, bring other players into the game and provide a presence into the box. They're the ones that are really sought after now. So yeah, maybe he can do something for Everton, but in this game here, it's going to be a bit difficult, of course. Let's go now into your other comments in here. William says, I've seen this movie already. Liverpool all day long. Beto could be there, but in the Premier League, time wasted can be a big difference. 100%. Ruthless league, and yeah, and you see players come and go all the time. Even for big money, they come, they leave straight away if you don't quite settle. So it's a good point you brought in there, Pax. Looking like a year out for Tonali. It's not good at all. When's that ban looking to get enforced, by the way, Josh? Do you have any clue about that? 2-0 to Liverpool. Toffee's going down still for me. Paxton's gone for a 4-1 Everton win. Casey's gone for a 2-1 Everton, 4-1 Everton, 4-1 Liverpool, sorry. 2-1 Liverpool win as well. Shay's gone for a 3-1 Everton win. He thinks he can do it. Hey, the last time they did win at Anfield was in the COVID season, 2-0, I believe. Richarlison scored in that game. And DCL, was it? I think so. But yeah, that's the last time they won during lockdown. I went 2-0 Liverpool, Salah and Darwin Nunez with the goals there. Big up to yourself as well, my bro Rich. Tereak, you lost to winless Hano last match day. Pick it up. Is this and then the draft league, mate? Oh, I haven't even sorted out my FPL. Oh my days. I need to sort that out as well. Thanks for reminding me. Let's have a look. What else we got in here? Shay went interesting. Yeah. Shay did go Everton. Maybe we need to be looking into Shay and following his predictions as well. Maybe we do. No idea. Thought it were instant, so you never know. Yeah, the Ivan Toney one was an instant. It took a while because I remember when he was first being investigated, that was just before the Man City win that they got away from home when he scored those 2 goals, because that was the first game since those investigations were coming about. So it's not instant. And he played up until probably about March, if that, March, April time, somewhere around about that period. So it could take as long as that, but being as I think because they're cooperating and giving up this information, and Fagioli's ban has come quite soon. Maybe it'll come even sooner for Tonali, but they're just probably looking into the extent of it all. And if they feel like they've covered it, then they'll then introduce the ban, and he will be your ban immediately from then. But let's have a look. Is Zaniolo in trouble? I'm not too sure. I've not heard much about the Zaniolo thing, but I heard that he was caught up in it, but he's not as been as in the news as Tonali and Fagioli. But let's go now into the next game. And the next game that we do have is probably the most interesting. You know what? Like it's not the most interesting game of the weekend because, of course, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool, Everton is good. But this is probably the most entertaining one that will actually get played out in Man City versus Brighton. Two really good football teams who stick to their philosophy of playing attacking football, who have a lot of diversity now. They set up two, depending on what opponent they play, tactically interesting managers against the best in the world in Pep Guardiola and one of the up-and-comers in Roberto De Zerbi, who's done an excellent job at Brighton overall. But it's had a bit of a mixed start this season with a few good results, beating Newcastle, grabbing that 2-2 draw against Liverpool, getting slapped by Aston Villa, and not winning the game in Europe. Those are just the ones off the top of my head. But it should look better for Manchester City as they will have Rodri returning from his suspension. The 3 games that he missed was against Newcastle, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Arsenal. And Manchester City lost all 3. When I've said before that Rodri is their most important player, I think those 3 games have gone to prove it. And now literally everyone knows it. Now, I'm not being the only one who said that he's been the most important player. I know it's a lot of other people have said it, but people have argued, no, it's De Bruyne, it's Haaland. You can, mate, losing De Bruyne and Rodri kind of he makes it up for the debate. But Rodri, for me, he's the biggest loss. And it shows how much lack of trust Pep Guardiola has in Calvin Phillips as his backup, as his understudy to come in and even do a job for a short period of time, because he didn't start him in any. Did he start him against Newcastle and then not? Then move Kovacic into defensive midfield against Wolves and Arsenal, and he got run ragged against Wolves, and he should have been sent off against Arsenal there. But it'll be a big plus to have him back. But Kevin De Bruyne is still out. But the likes of Haaland, he'll be licking his lips after having a disappointing international break. Phil Foden, he will be as well after that win against Italy, and he wants to be returning to coming back and really going on a run of form. Who knows if Jack Grealish is going to be there starting games too. They have got firepower. They have got Julian Alvarez, who's probably been their player of the season so far. Would you agree, guys? For me, yeah, Julian Alvarez has been their best player this season to this moment. So they have got firepower, but so did Brighton. So did Brighton with a contract being signed by Kaoru Mitoma in there as well. But they do have an extensive injury list. Apart from that, those guys, I will be honest with you, no Tereak Lamptey potentially, no Estupiñán. Those are big players for them. Lamptey's been covering in the loss of Estupiñán at left wing back, but they're going to have to jiggle those sort of things around there. And then, with the likes of Doku, Bernardo Silva, you can't really be going there with your third choice left back or, and really expecting too much, which is why I've gone with a 3-1 Manchester City win. Being at home, champions are going to bounce back. They might even go on a run of games here, run of wins. They have got a difficult running now, though, guys. Their next games are looking very difficult. Only Bournemouth at home is the one that is a banker, which you'll say, yeah, Man City are going to win that with ease. But then they've still got Man United in that fixture run. I think they've got Spurs in there too. Liverpool not too long in there as well. So it's going to be an interesting set of fixtures. But Brighton will give them a decent game. Just won't be good enough. Just will lack that little bit of quality to punish them, I do believe. But Brighton do get the first goal. Makes it very interesting. But if Man City get it, I think it's a foregone conclusion. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong on that. But I've gone with a 3-1. City win. City. What have we got here? Casey's gone for a 3-2 City win, close, but goals there. Paxton's gone for goals as well. 4-2 Manchester City win. Shay is going for the upsets of the century here, and he's gone for a Brighton 2-1 win. Big up to yourself, Shay. And Josh has also gone for a 2-1 Brighton win. Man City losing 3 games in a row for the first time in 8 years. They're 3 games in a row in the Premier League. They lost 3 games in a row in English domestic competitions. I know they won against Leipzig, so it's not necessarily the same thing. But yeah, that would be ridiculous if they did that. 2-1 City, says Moss. Haaland, Doku versus Ferguson. They're healthy, right? Yep, they're all healthy as it stands. Who knows? There might be a wild card being pulled out by tomorrow. But as far as we know now, and as we were doing this live, they're all healthy, all those goal scorers, right there. Shay, are you drunk or just going off vibes? Shay's on something else. Everton and Brighton double. Hey, Shay's up there. Shay's up to something. Lol. Just vibes, Shay. Really shows how important Rodri and KDB being. I would still take Phillips, but a cut rate. Hey, mate. Hey, they'll have to pay me to take Phillips now. Now, no disrespect to Phillips. Decent baller, but his fitness issues have plagued him. And when he was at Leeds in his first season, that's when he was at his best, at his physical best. But since then, people do forget that Calvin Phillips was injured for literally all of that season where was it not the season they didn't get relegated with Calvin Phillips there, did they? No, but the last season before Man City signed him, he was injured throughout the whole of that year, and they still went and signed him for 50 million. So yeah, Leeds did well. To be honest, they definitely did. Calvin and Declan always been a good combo for me at England. Definitely been more in the Declan Rice. And I've been that for years when he wasn't popular, when everyone was, oh, it's Calvin Phillips. Who's better than Declan Rice? I remember the Euros 2021. I won't forget that, people. I don't forget that. I was getting cussed. Declan, he's average. That's why Calvin Phillips is better. No. These Japanese players are becoming fantastical. Last couple of years, such depth at Japan now. And do you know what? That reminds me, Moss, because Aston Villa, seeing this with the Athletic, David Ornstein reported, Aston Villa making Vissel Kobe, the Japanese club, which André Iniesta played for. He's not, I think he's there anymore, but they're having a partnership with him with them to be like, the feeder club, to introduce some Japanese talent in a pathway to get through there. Because, with Brexit, it's not as easy to get even talents from in and around Europe, let alone across the globe around. So, yeah, a bit like our Man City have with Girona, Melbourne, and now that Chelsea have with Strasbourg as well. What Man United used to have with, who is it now that they used to have it with? The one that Johnny Evans went on loan to. It's evading me. But one of them, grass feeders in that way. I know in the building, Chelsea, but Chelsea fan, Arsenal getting touched up by a patch. Never. Yeah, 3-1 City. Hannah's gone for there, which is what I've gone for. Arrivederci. Anyone watching the rugby game? I was watching a bit of the rugby. Was on holiday, but I'm not watching it. But big up everyone in the chat. Let's move on into the next game, and it is about those guys in the other side of North London, the Lily White part, as they take on Fulham on Monday night, the last game of the weekend, who are sitting pretty at the top of the league, and fantastic start to the season for Spurs. Couldn't really have gone much better with it, with Spurs, with life under Ange Postecoglou. They have been. I know this is where, you're going to call me salty and that for saying this, but they've been quite fortunate with injuries and their fixture running to this point. But now, I think the reason why I want to talk about them next is because this is where the pressure is going to be applied upon Spurs now. And we'll really see how they cope with it, because they've not been expected to win every game to this point, and it's been kind of seen like, Spurs fans not really had much expectation. But when you start to go on a run of games, expectation will follow soon, and the expectation is now there. So they will walk into this game expecting a win against a Fulham team that they are better than, but a Fulham team that are well coached, that can set up well. We've seen against Arsenal when they ride their luck a little bit, that they can be a threat, and they can defend okay, I guess. But they are up against a decent Premier League team. Not, of course, one of the top high-flying ones that we get, that will be looking to compete for European places or anything like that. But a decent team that will pose some questions. I still think Spurs will win, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think, because Yves Bissouma, who's now out with his suspension after his double yellow card. And just a quick thing on Yves Bissouma, by the way, when he returns, he will return with 4 yellow cards to his name. And if he gets a yellow card in the next game, then he will be suspended again. So he could be facing 2 suspensions, not in a row, but when he returns on the next game, if he gets a yellow card, then it could be another suspension on the way. But with Fulham, in terms of their injury list so far, Adama Traore, he is being assessed. So he might, Adama, who was once upon a time linked with Spurs and could have made the move there under Antonio Conte and being one of their wing backs, he could be a nemesis in this one here because he had a muscle injury. He started to get involved in the games behind closed doors during the international break, and he felt his hamstring. So maybe, with someone with that speed and that, that muscular, I'm forgetting phrases again, with a lot of muscle that he has. Yeah, basically, he's going to be higher prone to getting hamstring injuries and other muscular injuries as well. But apart from that, no Adebayo, no Adarabayo, Issa Diop, Kenny Tete could be out too. But yeah, they've still got their key players fit and available. And with Spurs, they'll have no Mano Solomon, no Ivan Perisic, no Ryan Sessegnon, no Bentancur, no Bissouma. No, potentially might be out with Brennan Johnson. He could return. He had come back to training as what's Ange Postecoglou said, and Christian Romero, who has been struggling with an ankle injury, by the way, he will be returning for this one. Looks like most likely he will be fit for this game here, but they'll try and manage his minutes, I guess, and manage that ankle injury as well. But I have predicted a Spurs win, people. So it's a 2-1 Spurs win. I don't think it's going to be a massive scoreline as convincing. I may be proven wrong, but I think it will be interesting. With pressure now applied, Spurs, how will they react? We'll have to wait and see. But Paxton's gone for a 2-0 Spurs win. Tottenham to smash them Son Masterclass 5-0. So Josh thinks it will be a hammering there. Casey's gone for a 2-0 win. Shay's gone for a 3-3 draw. Salty Tea Talks coming out now. 1-1 London Derby. Palhinha and Richarlison with the goals. A little London Derby. It is. It's the smallest London Derby of the weekend. Shay's on the cannabis. Everton Brighton to win. Fulham to draw. Hey, he could be pulling a masterclass here, Casey. We'll have to wait and see. You don't know. Good vibe, Shay. I'm loving his predictions. I'm hoping every single one of them pull off right now. Adama 2 built for this sport these days. Exactly. He's got too much muscle around him. That's what it looks like. Muscular composition. Yeah, I guess. Body composition. Yeah, that's a part of it. I'm trying to be a nerd. I'm trying to take my mind back to the university days. Adama would have went to the NFL, but was too slippery. Mate, he'd have killed it in the NFL. Yeah, he'd have been amazing there. Or rugby as well. He'd have been class for that. Man needs to move to rugby. The NFL rugby, he'd have been quality. Who would he represent for rugby? Spain. But for the NFL, he could go there and he doesn't need to represent his country. I'm sure some clubs would take him probably now if you could teach him the basics, of course. But let's move on now into the next game. And the next game that we have on the agenda is Manchester United away to Sheffield United. And this is the 8 o'clock kickoff. And this game kicks off after the Arsenal game, which is interesting how the Premier League have sorted that there. 8 o'clock kickoff. Man United travel to Yorkshire and go to Sheffield, which is where Josh is living at now. So I'm sure he'll be wanting a Sheffield United with him. Josh, was you there for the Newcastle game when Newcastle beat them? Sorry, I'm trying to still catch this fly midstream. It's really annoying. Buzzing around when you can see it with a ring light on. It is. But another game, Man United, after their win against Brentford, 2-1 in that victory. And I'm being quite honest here. Like, I thought that Man United, Onana, terrible again for that goal. But I thought Man United looked better. Created a lot more chances. They weren't taking them. And it took Scott McTominay to come on the pitch and really win the game for them. But overall, in their overall play, building blocks, Man United is still nowhere near where they want to be, even in terms of level of performance, but getting closer towards it. And hopefully, for this, not for me, for Man United fans, that they'll be getting some players returning back to fitness in the defense in particular. But What it looks like it will be isn't good news is they may have lost Casemiro in that midfield, who is still in Brazil, apparently treating himself for a minor injury, an ankle injury he picked up during the international break as well. There's also doubt upon me. Well, I've just like look at this injury list and we've got right here. So the players that are not available or doubtful for this is Casemiro, Alessandro, Tyrell Malacia, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Colby Mainu, who's returned to training, but he won't be fit enough for this one here, so he's only just returned. Luke Shaw is a big doubt for this one still. Reguilon, still a doubt for this one. He returned to training as well. Should be fit. So I'd say he probably should start, but he's still classed as a doubt. Rafael Varane, a doubt, but he could be fit here too. Sofian Amrabat and Johnny Evans. Some of these may play. A few of them, maybe one, two, three at the most in Varane, Evans, and Reguilon, potentially Amrabat. There's still a lot of players out for Man United, which could have an impact on their performance. But it shouldn't really have an impact on the result of this game. And it should be a Manchester United win, because we are talking about arguably the worst team in the league who have injury issues of themselves. And I'm having a look at their injury list. You know, Chris Basham suffered that horrific ankle injury, and that will most likely rule him out for the season. George Baldock, William Asula, Ben Osborne, Reece Norrington-Davis, John Egan. I'm sure not a lot of these names you'll be familiar with, but with the Sheffield United team that don't have the biggest of squads, they're going to be these are going to be big misses. Whoever it is, they're going to be out. It was within the first team. But I think Man United will win this game. It might not be the most fluid. It might not be the best performance, but I think a 2-0 Manchester United win will be needed here against Sheffield United, who, you know, once again, when they've played the bigger teams in Man City and Tottenham, have made a game of it and literally made Manchester City score a late winner after missing plenty of chances. But they missed a late sitter themselves to even tie the game at that point. And then, of course, Tottenham winning it in the 98th minute or 100th minute, something ridiculous like that in the end against Sheffield United. But they have faced hammerings against Newcastle, lost to West Ham, of course, and lost to Fulham last week as well. So you do expect a Man United win for this one here. Paxton, he's gone for a 1-0 Man United win. He's gone for a tight one. He's thinking across the same lines as me. Performance might not be there, but still got to win against Sheffield United, against these guys. Shay's gone for a draw. He's gone for a draw in this one. That'll be a horrendous result for me in Man United. Wanted to pick him, but I guess it's 2-1 for United. Rasmus Højlund, 2-0 brace. Was in a pub wearing the stripes proudly while looking like I was about to not walk out alive. Big up for Josh. That was, that must have been horrendous for those Blades fans there, but not for you. Not for you. You was enjoying every moment of that big victory. Bring back De Gea, says Paxton. For this here. Sheffield already down. Can't say much more than that. Big win for Man United. 4-0, as much as good. Shay's gone for a 4-0 win there for Manchester United. Will be interesting to see. Let's go into the next game, and it's Newcastle versus Crystal Palace. We'll talk about these, and then we'll get after this game. We'll fly through the rest of them, and we only have a few more. Yeah, we only have a few more before we get into the predictions league, guys. So there, we probably should get the stream done within about an hour. If I start waffling and talk about Newcastle versus Crystal Palace, which will be at St. James's Park, and Newcastle, after a slow start, I'd say, well, not a slow start, but a stuttering start, they are back to their best, and they are feeling good in the Champions League as well. And they will have a Champions League midweek game for this one too. But in terms of the injury news, which Josh will probably be able to enlighten us a bit more on it, but what we have here is no Harvey Barnes, who will be out until the new year with a big toe injury, I believe. No, ankle injury. Sorry. Joel Willock, it's too soon for him to return for this one, sadly. But we may see Sven Botman return. He's been back in training. He's had a good 2 weeks, that's been said. No Lewis Miley, though. And I thought this was an interesting... Well, the reason it's an interesting reason to be out is because he's currently got glandular fever. And those of you who've had glandular fever, put your hands up if you have, because I have for sure. Because it can knock you about for really a long time. I picked up glandular fever when I was playing, when I was 16, 17, whilst I was playing for Bilston Town, where it was, this is the photo where I got that picture taken there. And honestly, guys, that affected me into my uni life as well. And I was in my first year at college when I picked up glandular fever. It can knock you about for a good 1 to 2 years. And for these professionals who, we know that that it's always the fine margins with these guys, fitness wise, physically, it could have a big effect on Lewis Miley. I'm sure he'll have the right nutrition, better than what I did, the right people around him to try and get him to recover quickly. But it is a shame for the young lads, who's one of their biggest academy prospects, to have glandular fever. Yeah, it does affect you for a long time, because the thing is with glandular fever, and without diving into it too long, is when you recover from it, which can take about 2 to 4 weeks, it takes a long time. It's like a really bad sore throat. It still stays within your system. The Epstein virus stays in there, can stay in there for years, like multiple years. So yeah, that's why you still struggle with fatigue. That's the biggest side effect of glandular fever, as well. And he's got that there. Alexander Isak, and yeah, just hope that he recovers from it fully, and we don't see something that goes on further from this. Alexander Isak is due to be back. He missed the international break with an injury, but he should be back for them there. And I know they also had an injury to Callum Wilson, but he's back and available for them too. And for Crystal Palace, what are you? If I talk about their injury list, we'll be here all day. But no Eze, no Elise, no Mateus França yet. He might be back. He might be fit enough to be on the bench, but it'll be interesting to see. Chet Decore should be back. Yara Vidavel should be back. Joe Ward, Dean Henderson out. Tompkins, yeah, the likes of there. But with all those injuries on there, sorry, Crystal Palace fans, they're just a ridiculous amount. I've gone for a Newcastle win, and it wouldn't really change if you had all of those players fit and available. Maybe if you had Eze and Elise fit enough and sharp to start, it could really be a difficult time for Newcastle. But I think Newcastle will win this by 2-0. And with all the controversy surrounding Sandro Tonali, it will be massive for them to grab this victory here before he does face that ban. I'm having some issues with my chair here, people. My apologies if I keep shuffling up and down. Sheffield, or that we would spoke about that. How we at the lads? He was glad to hear that. Was that a good Geordie accent there, Josh? Let me know. Or do I need to pack up the stream and call it a day? 2-1 Newcastle against Palace. 5-0 Newcastle, says Shay. We now have more points than we did at this point last season. Hey, so you're actually better. So this ain't a slow start at all, mate. Big up to you guys, and you're in the Champions League, and you've had injuries too. Newcastle, serious threat. Do you think, Josh? Stay with me here. Stay with me. Newcastle, potentially, for the title race. What do you think, Josh? What do you think? No Isak, Botman looking like a heavy doubt. Will Wilson looking good for now. Josh, outsiders for the title. Newcastle, let me know. Big up Munzi in the place as well. Gordon back from suspension. Oof. Wow. 3-0 Newcastle, says Munzi. I have 1-0 Newcastle, Callum Wilson. 4-1 Toon, Pope mistake for the goal, but Wilson, Miggy, and Geordie Maradona with the goals for Newcastle there. And yeah, Nick Pope, not my favourite. I don't rate him at all, to be quite honest. And yeah, especially when I've got goalkeepers of modern day ability now in Ramsdale and David Raya. But yeah, don't really like Nick Pope. Not that level yet. But what about you guys? Josh doesn't think they're at that level. Outsiders for the league title. I don't think you're going to win it, of course. But if we're talking about, okay, Spurs, outsiders, I don't think they'll win it either. But the three main favourites, Man City, number one, probably a bit of a gap between them and the other two, in Arsenal, Liverpool. I don't know, man. I feel like Newcastle. If you had to put 4 title contenders, Newcastle fourth, Newcastle above Spurs. Salt again, get the salt shakers out because it might sound like saltiness from me, but I think Newcastle are better than Spurs. Can't wait till you play Spurs. Show them, please, please, please. Do them. Show them. But yeah, let's go now into the next game, guys. The next fixture. Let me get these headlines off because you can't see them anyway whilst I'm chatting. And yeah, let's whiz through the rest now. Aston Villa versus West Ham, the Claret and Blue Derby. Interesting game, both teams in Europe, in Aston Villa being in the Conference League and West Ham being in the Europa League. Decent starts, let's be honest, from both teams this point in the season. Let me just have a look where they are in the table before I give you my predictions for this here, because I think both of them have had a decent start. So West Ham is 7th and Aston Villa in 5th. So decent play, only 2 points between them both. So both teams will be happy with their beginning to the season. Injury-wise, Ollie Watkins after scoring against Australia. He'll be in good form, but he's returning with sharpness there. But he's fit and available. But they will have no Jacob Ramsey. Picked up another injury after he picked up an ankle injury in the England under-21s Euros earlier in this, in the summer. He got in fact no Buendia, no Mings, of course. And it's too early for Alex Moreno, who Villa fans can't wait for him to be back so he can come in at left back and start ahead of Digne. But Digne's not been too bad as well. But Villa fans prefer Moreno. And West Ham's injury list isn't looking too bad. They've only got Aaron Cresswell, Benjamin Johnson, and Lucas Fabianski as the only doubts to this moment. Everyone else is fit and available, which is good for them there. And that's kind of lent into what I've gone for the result. Unai Emery, the master of the 2-2, and I think it will be a Unai Emery masterclass in a 2-2 draw. I think Aston Villa will lead by 2-0, and then West Ham will pull it back. This is what Emery does. I remember his time at Arsenal, that happened a lot. But I think it will be a tight game. Two good sides, well coached, well managed. Unai Emery has a lot of firepower there. So do West Ham too, with Jarrod Bowen, Mohamed Kudus, and then you got your Zaniolos, you got Moussa Diaby's at Aston Villa. There's one probably missing out a few more players, but I think it will be a 2-2 draw. I heard Isak out, but you never know. Probably on the bench, come on in the 75th, 80th minute. Yeah, you never do know. It's hard really to know with these injury updates because FPL and when it comes to managers, they like to use it as a little mini mind game, like a game plan in itself, to try and throw the opposition who's going to be fit and available. Pushing for top 4, but I don't see Newcastle going deep in this CL and being consistent enough to stay there in the title hunt this season. But if Newcastle I think that helps them if they don't go deep. Let's say they make it to the round of 16, which will return February, March. Yeah. So let's say February, then that returns and they got knocked out there. Then they literally have a free run. That's probably in the FA Cup or the Premier League. And if they're out of the FA Cup by then, they'll just have a Premier League run to focus on towards the end of the season. So yeah, but if they go far in the Champions League, let's say quarters, and even if they get a decent draw there, make it to the semis, I think it'll be hard for them to manage anything really serious in the Premier League if they are at that stage as well. Villa 3, West Ham 1, 2-1 Villa win, Diaby goal. Hope you're wrong. I can't have Diaby scoring. I've still got that bet with Kai Havertz versus Diaby. 2-1 so far to Diaby. But if we didn't do goals and assists, Diaby still would be winning. But yeah, 2-1. Villa 2, Hammers 1, says Moss. 2-2 draw, says Shay. Agreeing with you there. I need a Diaby hat-trick. Paxton, you can get out. I don't not need a Diaby hat trick, but do you have Diaby in your fantasy team, or are you trolling me so you can get on the back of a Havertz and Diaby? Think again. Kudus so good, barely play him and still producing. Bound to get Real or Bayern in the round of 16. Hey, don't you worry, we'll probably get Bayern or Barcelona, so we'll take them out for you. Real Madrid at St. James's Park, my word, that'd be amazing. Mate, you battered PSG. I won't fear anyone when they come to St. James's, Seriously, Josh, seriously, you guys are that good. Let's go now into the next game. Hey, you don't have Havertz in yours yet. I know. I don't have it in my fantasy team. I talk a good game, but I don't back it in my fantasy. But let's go now into the Bournemouth versus Wolves game, which is a Gary O'Neill derby, who is got sacked by this club for Andoni Iraola, who is certainly struggling at this moment in time. And with the big injury news of Tyler Adams going to be out again for a further 4 months up until February. Yeah, it's not looking good at all because they don't have a defensive midfielder. And with the way that Andoni Iraola plays, he's not pragmatic. He very much needs an energetic defensive midfielder in there. And that's been Bournemouth's issue when they've been trying to press. Excuse me. Apologies for that there. That was rude. But yeah, they will be vulnerable, and they will be a easy team to transition against. Arsenal found that at that point when we play through their press, they don't really have. It's not playing against a donut. They're well organised in their press, but as soon as you get through that first front line, that midfield's easy to play through, and that's what I saw. And I'm seeing Everton play against that, and all sorts of teams batter them and beating them convincingly. It's a problem for Andoni Iraola, and this I rated them, and looks like I'm being proven wrong at this moment in time. But can Andoni Iraola find a way? Someone who I really rate as a coach, has had a lot of backing in this summer across many different positions. But the one area where they look weakest at is probably the most important area in the pitch, and that's in the midfield, especially in this system. So struggling there. But Gary O'Neill's had a good time at Wolves, and he'll want to come here and bounce back and prove his old employers, why are you getting rid of me for this guy here? I kept you up in the Premier League. And yeah, why'd you do me like that? Why you gotta act like that? I don't know what I'm doing. I need to stop singing because I'm streaming now. But Wolverhampton Wanderers got a few players out. Mario Lemina, Nelson Semedo, Hugo Bueno. Yeah, could be out. But hey, Bellegarde should be back and available after his suspension that he picked to the red card against Luton. I'm sure it was. Yeah, off the top of the dome. And then Bournemouth, their injuries aren't looking great. But Lloyd Kelly should return, as well as Philip Billing, who's now known as just Philip there. But my prediction for this one is also a draw. I've seen Paxton go for it there. I've gone for a 1-1 draw in this fixture here. But Paxton's gone for a 0-0. Big up to yourself, Bargav, in here. This is big up. I'm very scared. Chelsea, a good defensive team with world-class counter-attacks. Oh, I wouldn't say world-class counter-attacks, Bargav. Wouldn't go that far, but a good defensive team. And Saliba and Gabriel can't handle it. Hey, I hope you're trolling there. I hope you're trolling. But yeah, big up to yourself, my bro Bargav. It will be a tight game. It definitely will. Is this a championship game? It could be. It could be next year, Josh, for sure. But Shay's gone for the same result as me, as a 1-1 draw. The team went downhill quick. Yep, they did indeed. Wolves 3-1. Definitely, yeah. If someone's going to win, it will look like it would be Wolves. The Bargav Derby. How can you love both London clubs is beyond me. Their defenders were absolute trash. Wolves press gonna kill them. That's what Bargav is saying. Saliba and Gabriel best duo in the world, says Moss. Big statement there. 1-1 Cherries versus Wolves and 2-0 Wolves, says Bargav. Let's have a look. And and Bargav said, reread the statement. Yeah, he's not liking them. I think it's a bit of tongue in cheek with what he's saying there. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Brentford versus Burnley. So this is the penultimate game that we've got here. Brentford, a lot of injuries. They've not been a good run of form. They've struggled so far this season. They are sitting in 15th place. They are missing Ivan Toney. They are missing David Raya. But I think most importantly as well, they're missing Rico Henry since the start of the season. So 3 key players that are out. And they've also got the likes of Kevin Schade, Josh De Silva, Shandon Baptiste, Michael Damsgaard, Keane Lewis Potter, Aaron Hickey suspended now, Ben Mee and Flecken that all missed the last game against Man United. But the latter two, Ben Mee and Flecken, should return here. Burnley struggled under Vincent Kompany, who's had a lot of injuries to deal with himself, and he's still got a lot of injuries with their 2 starting centre-backs being out, which isn't good for them in a team that's already quite weak defensively. Having their 2 starting centre-backs being injured and being out potentially for this game here. But I've gone for a Brentford 2-1 win. I think Brentford are going to nick it just with a home factor, and mainly just because Burnley aren't very good at the moment. But who knows? Could this be the turnaround for Vincent Kompany and Burnley? I highly doubt it, because defensively they're just a shambles. And I think that Vincent Kompany will eventually leave because of the amount of investment that Burnley have had, and they will want a manager who is more experienced, who can manage these players, this young group of players, and really provide them with guidance and stability to build from in there, especially. And I think it will spell the time will be up for Vincent Kompany soon here. But we've got the predictions in here right now, and Josh has said Burnley to get a 2-1 win. So Burnley to win away from home. Brentford 1, Burnley 1, says Shay. Brentford 0, Burnley 0. Henry out that versus us. That was really sad. I love him. He's a class player. Exactly. Yeah, he picked up that knee injury against you, and it had a big impact on them. And it has ever since. What a player he is, Rico Henry. He's a real threat going up and down, and one of the outsiders for the England position for me in that left back, because we're not really blessed with many good left backs. But Rico Henry, I think ever since last season, he should have got picked at least for one of the international call-ups, but didn't. And yeah, he won't be picked now because he'll be missing throughout the whole season. It's a real shame for Rico Henry. 2-1 the Bees, says Moss, which is the same score that I've gone for here. Has Burnley solved their issues defensively when going forward? No, they really haven't. And they will continue to have that issue. And the biggest problem for them is they're conceding from set pieces. And against a big side like a Brentford, who have a lot of tall physical players and who like to be a threat of set pieces, I think they'll cause them problems. And I think maybe that's where all 2 of Brentford's goals will come from. I'm saying that. That's one of my little outside prediction of the weekend. They're going to score 2 goals from corners, Brentford, this weekend. And Waymo 1-0, says Bargav. So 1-0 Brentford, with them Waymo scoring there. And the final game that we're not going to spend too long on is Nottingham Forest versus Luton. I've gone with the Nottingham Forest 1-0 win here, just because, Luton, sorry, not great. And Nottingham Forest, up and down, really, what you expect from them. But yeah, I think they'll have enough just to beat Luton, but a 1-0 here. What have we got in the chat for this here? Forest 1, Luton 1, 3-1 Luton. So Chase gone for Luton to win here. And if they do win, where would that take them? It could potentially take them up to, they are out of the relegation zone so far, because it's Sheffield United, Bournemouth and Burnley in there. That would get them potentially level on points with Everton. And also, I think Everton are going to be all right. But if Luton did win, that would throw a real spanner in the works. I got Nottingham Forest winning 2-0. I was thinking 2-0, but I edged it with a 1-0 in the end. I might regret it. 4-0 Forest win, says Bargav. Wow, another championship game. Mad Hatters to scrape a 1-0 win. Ooh, if they did that, mate. Hey, we've got 2 Luton wins in here. Big up the Luton army. The Hatters that we've got here. But Forest have improved since we played them. Yes, they have. They'll win. They weren't too bad defensively, and their substitutes in Alanga and Awanyi look quite good. But yeah, they beat Chelsea. They won at Stamford Bridge. Why can't we? But yeah, definitely, Forest got pretty good depth now. I've seen their depth. It's ridiculous what they've got there, guys. But yeah, let's move on now into the predictions table, people, without further ado. So, guys, this was the predictions table before the last game week, which I didn't do a preview show for, but I asked you guys to put it in the community notes, and you guys obliged and did so as well. But this was the predictions table. Jacob in first with 65 points, Man second, Moss third, Pat's fourth. I was in fifth. Mr. 200 in sixth, Alicia. I still haven't worked out her scores, by the way. Basically, my sister sends the scores to me, but I will get them into the comments from now on as well, guys. But yeah, she sends them to me directly. But yeah, I'll get them posted in the comments. And Jacob's scores, by the way, are put up by Ed. Ed puts Jacob's scores in the chat as well. Wilf, Shay, and yeah, the user who actually his name was user, by the way. It's not just I didn't know their name. That was their name, user. But yeah, that was the scores. There has been change there has been change. Jacob's still top, 72. Mange is in second still. Moss is still in third. Yeah, I'm just showing that I've taken a nice leap and a nice jump above Paxton. Only 1 point between us because we've both got the same correct scores. The gap has now been closed at the top. We've had some good weeks right here. It's quite tight between us. There's a bit of a gap between Alicia and Mr. 200, but once again, I've not quite done my sister's score yet, so I will sort that out for the next game week as well. And then, yeah, there's a big gap from about 6th to 7th round there as well. Well, Alicia and King are both joint 7th, so I don't know why I got 8th there. My apologies. But yes, people, don't go anywhere. Seriously, yeah. Jacob, too mysterious and a magical predictor. Moss, you had more than 13 points, my mate. Last week. No. You had 11. You had 11 last week. But you have had a good week because so far for the predictor, you had 11, bro. I'm sure you had 11. Yeah. I'm sure you had 11. I'll recount it. Let me do it right now. Yeah, let me do it right now. But this is what I've got currently for the predictor of the month so far. So from when we introduced this in game week 7, currently sitting at the top is Mange with 18 points from game week 7 to now so far. He's done game week 7 predictions and game week 8. He's got 18 points, 3 correct scores. Shay, 17 points with 3 correct scores, 1 point between them, and Moss in third with 15 points and 2 correct scores right there. Huge points by those guys. And I'll just let you know of the 5th and from 4th to 6th. Pax, you are in 4th, and you're not far, Pax. You've got 14 points in this month. So you're a point off Moss and you're 4 points off Mange as well. But you only have, you have 3 correct scores as well. So you've had a fantastic week. Pax, you've been good. So you're in 4th with 14. Jacob's in 5th with 13. We've got Mr. King's in 6th. King's actually in 6th. He got 8 points. And Mr. 200 and Alicia with 7 points this month. So, guys, there is still plenty. Yeah, it is 3 points for the correct scores. And I'm just having a look here. Let me have a look. I'm having a look on the channel. Yeah, in the community posts, people. So, with your predictions, the predictions that you put in here, Moss, I'll even share the screen. Let me share the screen. Chrome tab. Tereak Talks Football, YouTube. Yeah. Okay. So we can see that. Yeah, guys. Well, no. So I need to zoom in. You guys won't be able to see that. But yeah. Okay. So we're working it out right here live. So Luton, you got Luton's Tottenham. That'll finish 1-0. So you got 1 point. So it's that 1, 2, because it was 4-1. None. 3. Yeah. And then you got 3 points for that. So that's 6. No points. 9. Yeah, because that finished 2-2. So you got 6. So 6 from 6 to 9. 10. That was wrong. 11. So you got 11 points. So yeah, 1, 2, nope. 3, 6, nope. 9, 10, nope. 11. 11 points. Yeah. So yeah, 11 points for you, Moss. There we go, my brother. We worked that out live on stream for you. So that is correct. Mange with 18 with 3 correct scores. Shay with 17 with 3 correct scores. And Moss with 15 with 2. But Pax is right behind you, as well as Jacob too. But people, those are the predictions of the month. We have this game week in game week 9. You're counting that as 3 points. Fairs. No worries, my bro. No worries. So we have this game week and then game week 10's predictions. And then we have the first predictor of the month. people, it's very tight. It can all change. You've seen it already. Shay, who's low in the predictions table because he didn't put it in, but he's making the climb up now. He's in 11th. Yeah, and he's sitting second in the predictor of the month, which is why you should continue to make your predictions. Make sure you get them into the comment section. You can still be within a chance of winning prizes. Yeah, the predictor of the month is not going to be as big as the end of the season ones, but you will still be within a chance of winning nice prizes. If you win enough of them, they'll probably equate to them being as big as the predictor of the month, as the big one at the end. But guys, that is wrapped it all up. People, I really do appreciate you for joining me here. It's been an absolute pleasure. I removed the wrong thing. I do apologize. I'm glad to be back, and I really am. I'm unsure. This is what I wanted to say. Hold on. I might do a watch along for the Chelsea Arsenal game. I still need to work out what's going to be the situation with that there. I will DM Moss. We might have to do a combined something, maybe, or something, because I can't guarantee that I'm going to be here because I might be watching it out, basically. I might be. But yeah, definitely, at least if I don't do a watch along, I'll definitely be bringing you a match reaction for the Chelsea Arsenal match tomorrow. That's for sure. And then content will be up and loading. And do you know what? The Champions League game, okay, I promise you, for the Arsenal Champions League game and another one, I need to have a look at the fixtures. There'll be 2 Champions League watch-alongs promised, at least. Promised, okay? 2 Champions League watch-alongs for this week, guys. So make sure you are here for that. Maybe one for tomorrow. Definitely going to be a match reaction, but hold out. Definitely Champions Leagues. I will put up my calendar that I put up sporadically at points. I will do that from the start of the week as well, because guys, we've got another 4 weeks until the next international break, and then with the next international break, what I'm going to do, I'm going to look at trying to revamp things. I might have a different intro, etc., and try and revamp some of the artwork on the channel. But for now, it's content heavy, content focused, trying to get to the 800 subscribers. Would love to get to 1,000. That's obviously the goal. That's the big goal to get to, and then we move on from there. So guys, please do hit that like button. It really does help as well. And if you just share to friends and family and to loved ones, it really will make a difference. I will, and you know, I'll be here for you, and I'm glad to be here doing it with you. And look at that, Geordie. Oh, we are the lads. Oh, we are Bruno G. Big up to yourself, Geordie, in the building as well. And love to you all. I will catch you tomorrow at least. Take care. God bless. And come on, the Arsenal. Yeah, that's what we want. Come on, big win.